Hello and welcome to today's weather report. Today is the 5th of June 2050 and the weather is looking quite mixed as usual. So the southwest of England, it looks quite snowy. Wales is going to be quite wet with about 5 inches of rain falling before midday. The far north of Scotland is going to be quite cold and about 29 degrees, but it may also hailstorm, so best take your sun cream and your coat just in case. And the last sea wall in East Anglia will breach tonight. Thank you for watching the show and tune in tomorrow to know tomorrow's forecast.
Oh, now, you just did a forecast for a single day?
Well, yeah, we don't even know the weather on the day, to be honest. We just like to give a flavour of what people can expect.
When I was a kid, summers were warm, winters were cold. That's how it was. And I know they say about climate change and all that, but how could it be? Petrol cars were banned like 3 years ago.
Well, it doesn't really work that way.
Well, how does it work then? You know all about the weather and the climate and all that.
Okay, right. I'll summarise the climate crisis in about 60 seconds, and then I'll tell you about what was being done in the 2020s and also what should have been done.
If you picture the Earth as being surrounded by the atmosphere, the cake cover and the glass bowl are going to represent the atmosphere here. This orange represents the Earth, so I'm going to put half of this in each of the two different covers and leave them in direct sun for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to stick a thermometer in and see which one is hotter. So the thermometer is showing that the orange that was in the glass bowl is hotter. And this makes sense. The glass is thicker. So when humans release greenhouse gases such as CO2 and methane, we make the greenhouse gas layer in the atmosphere thicker. This means that more of the sun's heat gets trapped inside. This causes global temperatures to soar and creates a spiral of events, such as changing of wind and ocean currents, creating extreme weather events.
So this is why you'll experience extremely wet and cold weather, such as the polar vortex in Texas and the wettest May on UK records, both in 2021. But as a whole, our climate is getting a lot hotter. So 2020 was the joint hottest year in records with 2016. Now this increased temperature means that glaciers and ice caps are melting, and as well as permafrost, which means that the sea levels are rising and causing increased flooding, but the ground is also getting drier, meaning that's increased desertification, but also increased risk of fires, causing mass destruction of habitat. So, there were lots of positive things going on in the 2020s and before that to help tackle climate change. An example was the 2015 Paris Agreement, which lots of countries signed up to, which committed the world to keeping global temperatures below 1.5 degrees of pre-industrial levels. And some countries even decided to go net zero emissions by 2030 or 2050. Another positive was that global green energy was booming, there was a shift to more sustainable farming methods and rewilding of land and water courses. But of course, one of the most positive things was the mass participation and engagement with the climate crisis in the form of the climate strikes, when lots of citizens around the world demanded that their government take action for the climate crisis.
So, if all that was going on then, how come it's 2050 and I have to catch a boat between Swansea and London?
Well, I can't actually remember what was happening in the mid-2020s to late 2020s, but what I do know is that for the changes that were being done to have a significant effect, then there needed to be a system change with governmental and popular support. Which is why the climate talks at COP26 in November 2021 were so important, because when lots of voices calling for change, change does come.
I'm guessing the environmental movement did it gain in a popular support?
Well, that's to be seen, because it's not actually 2050, this is just a video about climate change.
So, future me can't teleport to Mars on holiday?
Yeah, probably not.